Welcome to the Wellness in Asheville podcast, where we shine a light on the people, practices, and places that make this city one of the most inspiring wellness communities in the country. I'm your host, Travis Richardson, founder of Be Well Asheville, your local news source for health, wellness, and community events. Today, we sit down with Leslie Brooks. She's really one of the best speakers I've had so far around women and relationships. She's created a really awesome community, as you'll hear. Maybe you've heard about Women Who Whine. She's got like 2,000 people in this Facebook group. So you'll see why she's so popular here in just a bit. But before we do, I want to say a couple things. First, about Asheville. I think there is really a divine feminine that's alive and well here. When I first moved to Asheville about 5 years ago, I just had constant encounters with what I would call empowered women. These women are not afraid to say their truth. They are free expressors. They are, I find women here find community fairly easier than other places that I've been. And, it speaks to why there's so many bachelorette parties here. I think Asheville just sort of has the divine feminine kind of going on. So it's been really cool to watch how women can find a place to thrive in Asheville and how they're so attracted to this place because of that. And speaking of that, I found a couple really cool things going on in Asheville here that you might be interested in. If you're a woman and are looking for community and connection, I've got a couple things that are of curiosity for you. The first is Bestie Quest, and this is an event on November 9th. It's kind of speed friending is what they call it for women in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And it's a real playful, meaningful way for adults to spark new friendships. They're making it easier to have supportive relationships. And that's really nurturing, I think, for a lot of women here who are looking for that. The second is the Wild Woman Project Circle Leader Training. This is a 7-week online journey starting October 27th. Many of you have heard maybe of the Wild Woman experience, Wild Woman Project. We had a retreat here in October, actually recently, and it's gaining a lot of traction, this Wild Woman experience. It's pretty cool. This particular leader training is about creating leadership in women and nurturing your own women's circles. Helps you bring together practical tools, soulful ritual, and global sisterhood. And by the way, these plugs for both of these events, neither of the organizers know that I've even plugged them. I'm just really interested in women finding their best self and connecting with one another. And I just thought I'd go out and see if I could find a couple of relevant events that you might be interested in. And without that, let's get on to speaking more about relationships and healing trauma, and do that with Leslie Brooks here. Without further ado, let's jump right into the show. Well, welcome, Leslie Brooks, to the Wellness in Asheville podcast. Excited to talk to you today about all things trauma, healing, nervous system, and really all about finding community.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I was going through some of your material, and you've got a really interesting background. You have a lot of experience. I mean, most people that I talk to who are like massage therapists and sort of in the healing space don't have decades. You have literally like 20 plus years experience. I was curious. Yeah. And I'm curious how you started off as a massage therapist and how that informed sort of how you are now and where you are now in the work that you do.
Yeah, I went right out of high school directly into massage school because I was very cognizant that I wanted to be in the healing space. And so, and I being more of a touchy-feely, like want to get in there and help people, I was also a soccer player. So the whole idea of the muscles and injuries, they made sense to me. So I went into massage school and really had a teacher who had a bend with neuromuscular work. And it was great because as I navigated my own trauma story, I recognized that the clients that I was calling in had a particular pattern of tension within their body that as I went into trauma school, recognized that that was anxiety, trauma, it was all the things. So when I got myself into somatic work and understanding the bottom up approach, my clients all of a sudden made a lot of sense to me, that I was
Hmm.
calling in people with codependency on a trauma recovery journey. And so I loved it because I was able to easily apply the work that I was doing to my clients.
Mm. Yeah, and I've found as a former massage therapist myself that their trauma does show up quite a bit, not only in clients coming in, but like even practitioners seem to naturally gravitate to massage therapy as an experience in being able to heal. And sometimes unconsciously, they don't even know they've arrived at massage therapy school to heal some of those parts. And then you see all kinds of things change. Has that been your experience as well?
Yes, absolutely. I found that that was what got me on the journey, because on my own trauma journey, because there's this recognition that I was craving touch, that I had a very disorganized attachment style because of everything that has happened to me in my life. And so getting into there and then also learning the correlation between trauma symptoms and muscle tension was just mind blowing, because you need muscle tension to hold the charge of trauma. And so when that realization happened and there's a cessation of symptoms after a massage session, and then it builds back up when we don't stay calm, but it just gives clients a fighting chance to keep calm. And holy cow, and people may not bring that in as an experience or understand it, but then when you say it, they're like, now that you do say that, I do notice that my anxiety is a little better. So it's been a great
Yeah.
correlation between the two.
Can I read something from your website?
Yeah, I would love that.
So I just pulled this off because it was interesting because you have said something that another guest I had on recently also says, and so I just wanted to read here and then ask you a question about it. So it says, "I lived it: narcissistic parenting, abusive relationships, family trauma, years of people pleasing. I used to believe I was broken. What I now know is that you're not broken. You just need to wait back to yourself." That's the quote. And I had Hayden Hasty with Wellspring Wellness Center on, and he said something to me at dinner one night, and it was really just the most. I mean, he said it in such a sincere way. I just was like taken aback. And he
Uh,
basically said, "There's nothing wrong with you. There never was. And when you learn that, everything changes." And what you just said is really mirroring that. So powerful words. I guess tell me about some of those things that you've been through in whatever way that feels
mhm.
helpful for, I guess, listeners to know that there's a way out of some of these things.
Right. My experience is I am someone with complex trauma, so C-PTSD, which is relationship injury. I do not know a before and after. There is no, like, my life was normal and then it wasn't. I have that type of trauma, but from the beginning, I only know clamoring for my mom's attention, fighting amongst the family to get her attention, and a withdrawn dad who was just working his tail off to provide and was disconnected. And, my dad was my everything, but he supports the continuation of the behavior, and I can't be a part of that. So, what that led to was just a lot of being the scapegoat of my family, really led to there's something wrong with me. Like, I am inherently flawed. And my gosh, I got to tell you, as I've learned about trauma as a woman in particular, how our biology runs us into trauma, because estrogen makes us want to bond and connect and do all these things. And that disconnection is like death because of tribal wiring. So, as women with that
Hmm.
high estrogen, we're driven towards each other to survive. It's a natural instinct, but it's particularly impactful for women. And that's why you see a lot of women around 40, I'm 44, start to get their shit straight because they're so tired. Their estrogen's dropping, so they less care. And man, 40s is the new 20s, really, if you're asking me, because
Yeah.
women are, the 20s used to be so much about embracing themselves and living their life separate. But man, biologically at 40, like we just don't give a damn as much anymore. And that's when I see a lot of my people walk in. So, and that would be the case for me. It was like perimenopause phase. Like it was
Hmm.
time for me to do my work.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
I see a lot of men sometimes around this age. I'm 49 right now, and I have seen in my 40s men just be bewildered at like women doing what they consider like radical life changes, and they're sitting here like, what is going on? I used to have this wife I knew. I have no idea who she is anymore. She's now a crystal loving, massage therapy-ing, like
Yeah.
she's doing things I don't understand. And that's all part of figuring out, like, right, if you've lost yourself for so many years, and I feel like that is sometimes what happens, especially for women I've seen, that you do have to find what you call a way back to yourself. So what ways have you helped yourself, I guess, find a way back?
Hmm. A lot of it has been touching back in with my body, and in particular from the belly button down.
Mhm.
Men are bring in their wisdom from their brain down. So it's all coming from the top down. Women, their power is in their pelvis. So a lot of dance, a lot of being not working out, working into my body when I'm exercising,
Ooh, I love that.
feeling my feet hit the ground,
Yeah.
music to the point where it feels like I want to move my body. But the important part from a somatic perspective is in non rhythmic ways.
Hmm.
So it is a lot of what you see me do in my life has a lot to do with just bringing myself back home into my body where my wisdom is.
Did you say non-rhythmic?
Non
Non-rhythmic?
rhythmic.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, and so just literally shaking out the hand in a non-dance way mimics the biological response of animals when they get caught and then they escape. They shake. And so, just first thing in the morning, putting on a song that you just feel like a queen and you dance your ass off to and shake your hands and your body, it puts us back into our body and offloads all the trauma response that's still living in us in the morning.
So there's so like when I think about trauma, and I kind of look at the way we have a mental body, we have an emotional body, we have a physical body, and trauma shows up differently in all of those. But I feel like with somatics, you're really touching the like the directly into the nervous system. It's like a direct access. Can you tell people, I guess, what is for somebody who doesn't know what the word somatics or somatic experiencing means, what is that, and how does it impact the nervous system in such a powerful way?
Somatics is the basis of the word is soma, which means body. What we know, and I just think this is so important for people to understand, is it's a well worn pathway for us to be in our head, to be in our thoughts. And that is only 20% of an experience, is what we think of and what comes up to our mind. But 80% is within the feelings within the body, the sensations in the body. And so somatics
Mm.
is the pathway back to your sensations, which truly inform most of our experience. But most of us stay within our brain and we stay in this worst case scenario. So our body's reacting to a story that actually isn't happening here and now. So somatic experiencing, when you're talking about people with trauma, there's 5 channels we work across: sensation, image, behavior, emotion, and meaning. When we have PTSD, which is like a fight or flight response that's still not fully played out in your body, you lose one of those channels. Like we'll stay in our head too much, we'll be too much in our own sensations, but not emotions. So, somatic experiencing is building more relationship with the channel that doesn't come in clearest so that we can fully discharge the entire weight of the story that is still living open in our nervous system.
Yeah, and very interesting. Yeah, I guess you could keep going. Like it goes pretty deep, right? Like, I mean, we store all these things at the cellular level, and we're really just trying to deprogram and rewrite a new story for ourselves. I do see that there's a tendency to, I mean, even when I was, so like one of the examples I always use, I don't know why I realized this at such an early age, but as even like a young teenager, I was always just so confused because, um, from a young man's perspective, I guess I would see, and trust me, I had I had all my own issues and they were plentiful, but I would see young girls, young women who I like. This guy is you. Everybody knows this guy is cheating on you. Like he's literally saying it, and like in front of you, like almost even like you can see it. Look at him; he's doing it right now, right? And there was this belief that like, no, he's not. I know him. He wouldn't do that to me, and I was just like, no, how can you not see that it's literally, this is right in front of you? And some of those young women, as I watched as they grew into more mature women, they did end up with like abusive
Yeah.
relationships. Though they were not, I would say, I didn't know at the time if they were abusive, but as I had gotten to know some of them better as an adult, I came to know there was abuse in their life. And this idea of like refusing to, I don't know what it was. I guess how do you look at that whole
I
situation?
have just an intimate relationship with the story you tell,
Okay.
and like, um, deeply still painful, and just in present, and informs a lot of what I do. What I see that as love addiction. It's an
Mm,
attachment to a story, because typically when you see love addiction, you had to make up a story about your parent or your situation that wasn't true, much in the way of like, a child that had a father that didn't show up, but the child believed, to take the pain away, that they were at a business meeting and they were going to come back and get them. There was no
right.
truth in that. But in order to survive, we lived in our creativity in a space that allowed our body to believe it, and get through the situation. And so I honestly, I had a relationship with that was marred in love addiction. And the guy, I mean, almost killed me 3 times. And the reality was, I kept going, but I'm the one who can understand, but I'm the one who can save him, because honestly, in my mind, I'm already to the point where we're happy and healed and saved, but there's no evidence in the moment that that's actually occurring.
So that is so interesting. I've also had this thought and this idea that women are the ones that bring. So like, let's take a look and like try to think from a more ancient perspective, I guess, like what's hard coded into us as men and women. And like for women, I feel like y'all are the ones that have always brought the tribe together, the family. In science, we know that women think of, I think, if I remember right, 20 people in their lives per day, whereas men are 3 or 4. We
Mhm.
think about our very, very close people, and that is it. And you guys are thinking about everybody else. Now, so here's my theory on this is if women are really about bringing and holding, being the glue that holds their families together, their society, their cultures together, their communities together, then in a dysfunctional personal relationship, what they're also trying to do, they don't know it, is hold that together, even though it doesn't work. But it's because they are literally hard coded to do so. And so that must seem like you're an uphill battle because you're fighting your genetics in some ways,
Yeah.
your programming, right? I mean, you've
Yeah.
got the DNA, but you also got the other conditioning on top of that.
Yes, yeah, patriarchy has really killed that, because
Hmm.
in so many ways, we have been taught that it's what we produce and do in a day, and actually, that's not the genius of women. Men are the riverbank, women are the river. And we know relationships that are heavily, heavily influenced by the woman, they do the best, because they are left to free flow and read the situation, because we can consider a tremendous amount of possibilities,
Yeah.
and we have the estrogen in order to maintain the connection, feel the disconnection. I have goosebumps all over my body. Goosies, goosies. Like, because and women heavily informed, because we are meant to flow and pick up information. Then together, as in the container of a relationship, the man holds the boundary for what the woman sees.
Hmm.
As they agree in the value, he holds the sacred container of that.
So, as you're speaking about this, it also brings up another thing, and I'm maybe getting a little sidetracked here, but it feels like men and women, call it masculine and feminine, I guess. Um, I think it's important to talk about the differences because to me, it means I can better honor the strengths in my partner.
Uh-huh.
For instance, Jill has a way of being that, like, she surprises me sometimes with the way she thinks about things, and it's to my benefit. But if I were to shut her down and and then she feels like she doesn't want to share, now I'm hurting both of us. So it's like, but we do need to become aware of, as men, how women are, and vice versa. And women need to understand how we think too, because I feel like they can be very cohesive, valuable, honoring, all of those, if they know how they operate. If we don't, then we just cannot communicate. And I see it in my own relationship. Often I don't understand where she's coming from. She the same, and then the room gets quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't have the container of masculine and feminine energies, it's not a complete picture. And I would almost like to take it out of gender and into the physical body and out of it to say that masculine and feminine are energies. They're not a
Right.
performance in the world. And so many times that's really been bastardized, changed to be a man and have feminine qualities, which, if you're really looking at it, feminine qualities are the qualities of just being.
Hmm.
They're the qualities of creativity. They're the qualities of connection. They are the female energy is the energy of co-regulation. It's the energy
Hmm.
of I have a healed and stable nervous system and I'm going to lend mine to yours so that we
Hmm.
together become whole. And masculine energy, so a lot of women who they're concerned that they show up and they're masculine too much or people are making fun of them. They're just concerned with production. Like, it's the being energy, or excuse me, the doing
Doing.
energy. So the
Yeah.
feminine is the being, the masculine is the doing. And in so many ways, we have made them be one gender or the other, but they are not. They're an energy of being or doing. And with the masculine, it's a lot of production. So, and actually in a lot of ways less safety than you would think. Really, mothers are the protectors of the world. So we've got that backwards too, is like men do, but they protect the energy of the woman so that she can move and flow how she needs to.
Totally. Somebody just I was listening to I don't know, YouTube or something, and this guy, it was like a short, and it was like 30-second thing, and he was talking about, how men and women are both needed, and we talk about like protecting what kinds of energies, like you just talked about. If somebody breaks into your house, it's typically the masculine that's going to take do whatever it takes to eliminate the threat, right? Like that's programmed. The female is sacrificing herself, throwing herself onto the children,
Mhm.
you know, ready to just like die, whatever needs to happen to protect life. So you need both of those. If somebody intrudes your house, you can't do them all, right? You can't both protect your kids and handle the situation. You need both energies. And so I found that really, I liked how he put that very simply. I'm like, that makes total sense. And realistically, yeah, that's exactly what would happen. So I
Yeah.
like that.
And if you want a female to be more feminine, or like if you truly want to show up to allow feminine energy to occur, it requires safety. Because it requires safety to allow the woman to flow and create, because that's what creativity is. It happens in safety.
I feel like, and in our culture, it's been harder and harder for women to um, have that, like, creativity and space, because uh, I used to work as an engineer, and I saw how, these are women that loved math, and they loved computer science, and they loved technical work. But because of the old patriarchal, I guess you'd call it, we'll call it
Mhm.
hierarchical nature that the patriarchy tended to levy on us. They just did horribly in that regard, because the way women operate, I remember being in a meeting, and it's like, 8 men and 1 woman, and we're like discussing ideas, and this woman was like, um just like wanted to free flow and just throw ideas out and for consideration. And the men, I could tell, were just like, oh my gosh, you didn't think through the most perfect idea, and you don't have it all figured out, and there's no data behind it. Right. And so she just got shot down. But what she was doing was offering something really valuable, which is brainstorming, creativity, flowing, figuring something out without regard for how it's going to be perceived. And I was like, oh, this is such an example of masculine, feminine, just of how we've disallowed women to be themselves, and also made it be culturally like okay, sort of like
Mhm.
it was all nobody saying. I was in the background just being like, this is screwed up. I'm watching something be screwed up right now.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting because, a lot of men will perceive women coming at them complaining about the relationship. But what you're seeing is what you're talking about. They see a better way. It might just be a sloppy, like, thought that needs to be cleaned up through processing. But if a woman comes to a man and said, I would love to work on emotional relationship, our sexual relationship, it's not a complaint. They're looking and saying, oh, I found something creatively that could be a better way for us to operate. But it doesn't have to be pretty. In fact, it's better if
Mhm.
it's not.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, the more messy, the more organic, and the more fluid sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, I got some other questions regarding, specifically, we're talking about community and regarding women, and um, some of the things I've also seen is competition among women,
Yep.
and how that really has hurt. And I do see a lot of coaches like yourself and other women trying to just change that. But how do you see competition and how it's harmed like the feminine community and as a whole?
Yeah. It's made us against each other in a way that people can't understand. How people like me who have I have a certifiably narcissistic mom who I can't go to my other females because they're not safe. They're going to judge me, they're going to discredit me, and we have to understand the biological beginning of that. Because biologically, from a tribal perspective, if my spouse leaves me, I might die. Like, he's not going to feed me,
Mhm.
protect me. Same with the belonging in village. Like, when we don't feel connected, it feels like a live or die experience because that's my people. Those are my people who love and care about my experience. And so now it's then gone into, you have an iteration of time and space where it was get the best suitors so that you could have enough money because women were not able to work and make money and hold land. And so now, without understanding the origin, it now has carried over into today where they don't it's literally a collective community complex trauma of, like, when someone gets at the head or someone has control, I need to knock them down because what are they going to do with it?
Mm.
Do they have my best interest in mind? And that's where patriarchy has influenced females to put them against each other. And frankly, it's killing us because the idea of, like, gossip being bastardized in communities, gossip literally served to function to share within community which men were unsafe. And
Mm.
it wasn't
Interesting.
about talking about each other. It was meant to say, like, "Hey, dude on the corner is not safe. Just keep an eye out.
Huh.
Pass it on." And then it
Oh.
was
Huh.
illegal for women to walk 2 by 2 and gossip. Like, women
Ah.
collectively, they are meant to call in multiple points of view because their brain can do it.
Yes.
And yet we act like they're too emotional. I think men are not emotional enough, or people in that patriarchal structure. We're reacting to bullshit that's been going on for centuries, but we're turning on each other instead of
Mm.
saying, I need help. And you
Mm.
are seeing some of it change because, like, a lot of it, women, they're talking about with younger women, like in their 20s, when they go to a bar and you're unsafe, do not go to a man. Run to a mama bear. in that room,
Yeah.
run to her because she's got you.
Right,
And
right,
that's
right.
that relational hug you're talking about that women provide. Whereas it's just we're getting it, but it's just really it's too few and far between.
It's slow, isn't it? I sometimes
Yeah.
think about the global consciousness, and I think I really it's sad to say, but and I don't mean to be pessimistic, and I'm an optimist in general, but I think that the kind of changes that have taken thousands of years to get to where we are now take so long to undo
Mhm.
because we are operating with cultural assumptions that we don't even know we operate from. We take them for granted because they're just we appear to be how the world is. I'm trying to I try to as a man become very aware of my own balance in my own like feminine energy so that I can become as more balanced so that I can help support. I don't have the ability to do change everything, but man, I gotta tell you, like for the women in my life, hope they would say I do my damn best because I think
Mhm.
we we men women have such a powerful role in being able to help shift this, to help women trust. What do you see in your community being the most helpful for our women? I guess, how does being in community help heal women?
Uh, the One of the things that we talk about as an agent of trauma, like something that heals trauma, is people don't understand how empathetic witness is the most healing agent in the world.
Mm.
Every woman, I have a community that's a fun community called Asheville Women Who Whine. There's 2,100 of us right now. I started that about a year ago. That is all about creating full body yes moments in community because that's how we're designed, especially as women with estrogen. When we share fun, especially for people like me who don't have before and after trauma, we instead know dysfunction. To know moments of joy together in safety, the way we're biologically designed, changes a nervous system. It gives them a sense of what they're getting back to. And then for the Peaceful Goddess Project, which has about 600 over 4 cities, that is all about empathetic witness. It is the most healing agent in the world. Women feeling felt by their community quenches the nervous system and trauma falls away. When
Mm.
we feel heard, it's our number one go-to is the social nervous system. That's the latest adaptation. That's the vagus nerve. The vagus
Mhm.
nerve innervates or it feeds the social engagement system. That's the first thing that comes on when we hurt biologically. It's to speak to somebody and say, I'm hurting, or to stop somebody to set boundaries. So when you put women together doing naturally what they do, which is empathizing and creating safe space and then co-regulating because that's feminine energy,
Mhm.
it knocks your socks off as a woman, like big full body goosies right now, because that's what we're freaking supposed to be doing. And instead,
Yeah,
we're told to hate each other because she's a
yeah.
size 0 and I'm not. And it's just, it breaks my heart.
That's what keeps the game going, though. Every judgment is the Course in Miracles talks about every thought like that is an attack on the other. So we
Absolutely.
don't realize we're attacking women constantly when we have a thought like that. And yeah, I feel like, and men too. I feel like for us, we judge ourselves in different ways. I think men are status driven, and we judge ourselves based off of status and power.
Mhm.
Women often it can be. I mean, I see women all the time. Their eyes scan other women. I like look and I see their eyes go up, down, and they don't have to say anything. I already know what you're
Yeah,
thinking.
absolutely. And I
I know
think
what you're
it's
doing.
really important. It's so true, but I think it's really important to understand what judgment is. Like,
Mhm.
summed up really briefly, and this is the example I typically use, it's hatred towards the self. So if you've got, like, say you have a very judgmental woman that's looking across the street at a unwed pregnant mother, judging them, saying, how could they? They're just saying if they were in that situation, they would hate themselves. Safe people have space for their own emotions, and they will give you safety and compassion for your own. If you want to be a safe person, have compassion for yourself first, because you will
Yeah.
find it for other people. If you don't want to judge people, don't judge yourself, because
Right.
that's what judgment is. Get off your own back.
And you'll feel better. I swear, and I know I've met women who they are just constantly, and I think it's authentic. I'm pretty sure because I know them. Is that when they see something in another woman, they are so complimentary to them, or they're like, "Oh my gosh," and they're just like so excited and so happy for them. And I'm like, "Oh man, you are a breath of fresh air. I can't believe you're that way." Like,
Yeah.
and I see them internally also it's like they're saying these positive things, but it's because they themselves are feeling good inside their body. So I guess it kind of starts with feeling good in yourself. What now on that point, what do you recommend? Two questions. What do you do for self-care to feel good in you, and is that the same or different from what you recommend to, like, maybe say people you work with?
Um, no, what I do, anything that I suggest to somebody, I've gone through it myself. Like, how dare I, in my
Yeah.
mind, suggest something I cannot or will not try myself. That's not creating safety and a way forward.
Hmm.
For me, I think massage therapy, which I provide for nervous system regulation, is really important because it gives us a fighting chance. But the biggest thing that I teach is people with trauma or going through toxic stress, like unabatable stress. They typically, if we wake up in the morning at a 1, which is what most people without trauma are gonna do, they're gonna feel relaxed and yawn and stretch and be present. We're waking up at about a 6. And if 10 is losing my shit, 6 is not a good place to start in the morning. So I am
Hmm.
very huge about bringing your 6 down as low as you can to the 1 first thing in the morning, however is already in your body and in your life already. So
Hmm.
for example, if you take a shower in the morning, putting your hand in the water and going, this is my hand, this is what my hand feels like. This is my
Hmm.
arm, this is what my arm feels like. That puts us back in our body. And then the other thing going throughout the day as the day goes on, nervous system's gonna ramp up, that's natural. And I really want people 4 times a day for 30 seconds to orient around the room. Look into the corners, understand what looks pretty. If you're at a 6, what makes it a 5? If you're at a 5, what makes it a 4? And it could just be looking at the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains that we are resourced with here. That, like, I lived in Ohio for all my life. My God, I want to bawl every time I see mountains behind the Target. And it
Same.
puts me it puts me in my body again. Like, it's a
Yeah.
resource. And
Yeah.
and then the like kind of the next thing is find a friend, find safety, because co-regulation is real. And if we don't let it build up and wait for one of my events to have fun, and instead we reach out to a friend daily or every other day, that's a moment of feeling felt. That's going to feel good to you. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, all of it is tending the nervous system, grounding several times a day, and being willing to see the beautiful moments, because if we're threat assessing all the time, we're missing the good that happens in a day.
Wow. Absolutely wonderfully said. That is so true. And there is, I was just watching the outside. I was on a call and I just stopped for a second and I lost my train of thought because I was looking at the leaves fall right now.
Yeah.
And oh my God, if you guys can just go outside for a second and watch the leaves fall and that's it. Ooh, man, like nature's putting on a show. I'm telling you, it's happening right here
I
in
have
Asheville.
goosebumps. I have goosebumps everywhere. Because
This
it's
is going to
so
be,
simple. They make it sound
yeah.
like it's like doing
Uh,
the work. This is one thing I want to impress. If you got left nothing with what I had to say, the biggest thing is we talk about doing the hard work. And Travis, the hard work for people in trauma is to see those leaves fall. Is to
yeah.
look at those mountains. That's the hard work for us. We've already been doing this shit all our lives. Like,
Yeah. That is so true. Well, so you've got just to recap for the listeners, this, you've got the Peaceful Goddess Project. You're in a book club with Kathy Harlow.
mhm.
Don't know if we have time to talk about that, but just know that that exists. It's something Leslie is leading. and you do lots of community. You do your classes. You also have the Women Who Whine Facebook group, which I think is a great name. And if you haven't joined that, I really recommend. That's a great starting point, I think, to see and check out your work. And you also have some freebies, like you have a freebie video that can kind of help people get grounded in sort of what you do. Can you talk about that video?
Yeah, that video is kind of one of the pillars of my work where it's the full body F no work. And that's one of my the pillars is boundary setting. And so the video kind of goes into how to feel good in your body saying no, because that no is protecting moments of yes. It's protecting our ability to see the leaves falling. And so it's a body way of jumping in and saying, I'm going to hold a container around the good in my life by being willing to say no. And it's the beginning of that.
Love that. Last rapid fire question here for you. Where is your favorite spot in Asheville that you like to go to ground yourself, maybe feel a little more connected to yourself and kind of just go within? Like where, or do you have a spot that you enjoy here?
Honestly, if it's not my office, because that thing is has so many plants and it feels so good. I will say I often, because I'm seeking connection, so you'll see me a lot if I'm looking for connection. Go. This sounds ridiculous. The Flying Squirrel Pub in Arden has the nicest owner, and when I walk in, he's always like, "How are you? What's going on?" It's more a face for me. It's definitely more a face for me that I've been able to cultivate some relationships. That's hard for me, so that really is joy for me.
I totally get that. Yeah, I was just in Cantina Louie's down in South Asheville. It's funny because I know the owner, and I was like, "Hey, man, I just wanted to say I'm having a really awesome Taco Tuesday at your place," and it was all about the bartender. The bartender is just so nice. I'm like,
Yes.
this is so like she's worth more than whatever you're paying her for because I'm like having an amazing. She's smiling and happy and talking to people. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling really good right now. And I left feeling just like, God dang, I'm in a good mood. And she had no idea like how that made me feel. And you know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And it was
Yeah.
at a Cantina Louie. So
Yeah. I know. I haven't been there yet, but like Lisa Marie at Bill's the owner, but Lisa Marie, who's in on his bar, like, holy cow. Like I walk in, I'm like, like she knows I'm there. Like I'm seen because so much of my life has been unseen or seen for the crap I do because we're human and make mistakes. Like she's like, you're here. And I'm like, oh, I love that so much. Like,
we all need to do that so much for each other.
yeah.
And oh my gosh, it's really what we need to do.
Yeah.
It's been it's been amazing talking to you. I want to talk to you again. I feel like we literally didn't cover I mean, there's so much more depth and you have such clear answers to my questions that like you don't even have to think about. They roll off. It's like, you just are this. Whatever, you are this. You've been through this. I can just tell it. It's so obvious. So
Thank you.
yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the time with me.
Well, this is amazing. Give me an excuse to talk about the thing I love the most in the world, which is my job.
Oh, well, I hope to share your messages with as many people as I can. And
Appreciate
if
you.
I do a women's event, which I've been considering doing, I'd love to have you be a part of that as well.
I would love that. Love that.
All right. Well, you have a good one, Leslie. And until next time, be well.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Wellness in Asheville podcast. To explore trauma-informed coaching, somatic healing, or join Leslie's upcoming book club on mother hunger, visit lesliebrooksclc.com or follow at lesliebrooksclc on Instagram. Whether you're navigating relationship trauma, craving authentic connection, or longing to rebuild sisterhood, Leslie's work offers a powerful doorway back into nervous system safety, truth, and community. And if you enjoyed this episode, like always, please leave us a review and share it with a friend. To learn more about Be Well Asheville, visit BeWellABL.com. You can catch the next episode while on your way up to visit Mount Mitchell or cruising down I-26 or on your way to catch a nice sunset view over at the Black Balsam Knob If you loved what you heard, please rate and review this show. Your review helps others discover and grow our wellness community. You can check out more Asheville wellness news and events and join our newsletter at bewellasheville.com. Thank you for being the best part of our wellness community. And until next time, be well.